The views and opinions expressed by guests on Soda City Unleashed are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of CVets. While we love sharing stories and insights from the veterinary world, this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitution for professional veterinary advice, diagnosis, or treatment. We always recommend consulting your primary veterinarian for any medical concerns regarding your pet. Welcome to Soda City Unleashed, where we decode pet health with some of the best vets and veterinary experts in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm your host, Emily White, and today we have Derek Tyson with us. Hi, Derek. Tell me about yourself, where you're from.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, actually just north of St. Augustine, and I am the regional sales director for Trupanion Pet Insurance for cats and dogs. So I've been doing that about almost 8 years now. So great company, love working there, but again, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So the reason why we got in touch with you guys is because, in doing this podcast, we've had a bunch of our doctors and even our techs on, and when we ask them for their medical advice or their advice from this side of things, they always say, get pet insurance, get pet insurance. And I will say, when we first launched, someone commented and was like, tell me about pet insurance, asking for a friend, So it's something that people want to know about. And they, we were just chatting before, not a lot of people in America are, on the train yet. So we wanted to talk about that with you guys today and get a little background and explain it. So for those who may not be familiar, what exactly is pet insurance and how does it work?
Well, to simplify it, it's a budgeting tool. It's to help somebody pay for those unexpected things. I can call my vet and say, how much is it to get my dog spayed or neutered or a rabies vaccine? And you can give me a price on that. But I can't call you and say, my dog got hit by a car. How much is that going to be?
Absolutely. So just like you or I, I'm assuming you have medical insurance for yourself. I just went to the doctor today, and it's something that, you're paying a copay and that's what you're prepared for. But, you have those yearly visits, but you never know when an accident is going to come up. And
that's exactly right. We know with pets, you could step on a paw, something as simple as that, or they swallow something, the foreign body, things that we always see, allergies. We're here in the South. Allergies can happen all the time, and you need some medication for allergies can be in the $150 to $250 every month. That's not sustainable, right? That
right.
is hard to swallow as a pet owner. And so we're there to help kind of bridge that gap between what you want to do for your sick or injured pet and what you can actually afford to do.
Absolutely. Something we talk about a lot now is our pets are our babies. Mm-hmm. This generation, I know I'm almost 30 and have no kids of my own, but I have my pet because he's my baby.
Yeah.
And it's gone are the days of just like adopting a dog on a whim or taking a cat home off the street. Like you really have to prepare in order to have this living being in your home.
That's right. It's a responsibility, right? And it's so much more than a responsibility. I have two young boys, and I unfortunately had to put my dog down.
So sorry.
About 6 months ago, and it's hard. It was hard on me. It was hard on the boys, but they are a part of the family, our boys were devastated. We were devastated, and it's hard losing that pet, but they are as much a part of the family as everybody else, and so it is definitely hard when they're sick. And the last thing you want is money to become a reason you have to make a tough decision, right, like putting them down. That's worst case scenario, and that's where we are striving to fix this. Right now, it's broken. Like we talked about prior to starting this, there's only about a 3% market penetration for pet insurance in the U.S. And, there's reasons for that.
And that means, because I had to ask the question.
Yeah, only about 3% of pet owners have pet insurance, where if you compare it to, let's say, Canada, there's about 20%. And if you're looking over in Europe, in some cases, it's about 40% or more. So it's widely accepted over there. It's a little bit newer here in the U.S., and there's reasons for that. I know there's when pet insurance first came out, you had to start somewhere, and there's some other companies that came out, and it took a while to get reimbursed. It didn't pay very much, only about half of what they were hoping to get paid, and so it kind of had a bad reputation in the industry. And I think that has taken years to kind of overcome. But it's gotten much better. And, you know, I know Trupanion specifically really strives to, hey, we're a legitimate way to help budget for those unexpected things. And we want to pay claims. We're a publicly traded company. We want to be there for you when your time of need and help give your pets the best care that they deserve.
Absolutely. Why do you think more and more veterinarians specifically, or including all of ours at CVets who've been on this show, are recommending pet insurance to pet owners?
Well, I think, you know, the biggest reason for me is, you know, or if I'm a vet, I go, I'm sure it wasn't cheap, and it took a lot of your time to go through vet school. And then you get out in the field ready to save the world, and 90% of your clients are, let's do the bare minimum. You know, what can I get away with? And, I'm sure all these amazing veterinarians got into this business so they could save lives and practice best medicine. Mm-hmm. And when they're not able to do that, I mean, I can't imagine the emotional toll it takes on them on a day-to-day basis, where we could do more, but our clients can't afford it. And then you get hit with well, you don't care about pets and this and that. And we hate hearing that, because we know what we go through every day in this industry to change that. And so I think veterinarians see, like, when a client has pet insurance, we can do a whole lot more. And I'm going to ask you a question, actually.
Oh, gosh.
Do you know what the average stop treatment amount is for pets? And that's the amount where a client says, I can't go above this.
I'm going to guess $500.
That's a low guess, but that's no. It's in 2015. It was actually about $1,400. Okay. And they updated it in 2023, and it's about $1,100. So it's actually gone down since 2015. But if you think about that, X-rays, blood work, you know, a lot of the diagnostics to even just see what's going on will get you over that $1,100 amount, and then you can't do anything to fix it because the client can't afford it. Right. So let's say our policy, for instance, where we have 90% coverage, that number goes from 1,100 to 11,000. Imagine what you can do as a doctor if you have that flexibility to say, hey, let's put the financials aside. What do we need to do to fix this pet and make it, allow it to go home with their family. And I think that's the motivation for these doctors, is being able to practice best medicine.
What types of situations or procedures have you seen where pet insurance really saved the day financially for a family?
Yeah. How long's the podcast? There's several examples for my own dog who she had IVDD, which is a back issue. She's a dachshund mix and had multiple issues there where Trupanion paid about $3,800 or so. But talking with our local rep here in the area, Andrew Schneider, his dog really was an amazing story. His dog Penny, which he and his girlfriend both work for Trupanion, and but their dog Penny, had quite the story where she had 3 seizures, aspirated, which led to had fluid in the lungs, and they basically said there's nothing we can do for her, and they were able to say, hey, we have Trupanion, we're open to aggressive forms of treatment. And so they did a high flow oxygen treatment for 36 straight hours, and wow. She was able to survive. and then with the follow-ups and everything else included, it was about $22,000 that Trupanion paid for that. So an amazing story. And without that, Penny would not have gone home that night. And I think that's remarkable. And there's countless stories that we have. We actually have a 30-day offer where clients, if they're interested in Trupanion, we can give them this trial, and they can have 30 days to experience and see if they want to sign up for it. If they want to do research, they have that ability to do that. We had one where a dog jumped out of a car, leaving the vet's office, landed on its front paws, broke them, had to do surgeries, and it was about $14,000. And that client had never paid a month of premium, but they were able to get that treatment because of that 30-day offer that we have. So it's really awesome to see some of these stories.
What should pet parents look for when they're choosing a policy? Yeah. Are there any red flags or things that you absolutely need to have?
I would say look for things like how does your pricing work, right? Do you do birthday pricing? Every year you get older, my premium goes up. I know with us specifically, we don't do any birthday pricing. So prices will likely go up over time, but it's based on the average cost of care in that specific area, as opposed to your dog is now 5 and it's going to go up by 75%. So I would say pay attention to the pricing, how that works. Look at the fine print as far as waiting periods. I've seen somebody, we cover all pre-existing conditions. And then you look closer at that and it's like, well, as long as they didn't show signs or symptoms in the last year, or you can't do any type of cruciate surgery, unless it's been a year since your enrollment, things like that. Look at waiting periods. How long are your waiting periods?
What exactly is a waiting period?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I know with us specifically, if somebody were to go online, do their research, and sign up with Trupanion, there'd be a 5-day waiting period for accidents, 30-day waiting period for illnesses.
So like an accident can't happen within 5 days?
5 days, right.
Okay.
So the reason is that is, you want the client to bring in the pet immediately, right? But if there was no waiting periods, what would happen, right? They would wait till they had an issue, sign up for insurance, then take their pet in, and now that's, as a company, that would be hard to pay for that, because you would never get a premium to be able to help pay for everything, right? So and then other companies have 30-day just overall, or it just really depends on the company. So look into that. I know for us, we have that offer, that exam day offer is what we call it, where it waives all waiting periods, because they have to have an exam before they get that offer. So we have a snapshot of their health, and we're able to waive the waiting period so that they get immediate coverage for that. And that's that 30-day offer that's available to them.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So things that you think people should look for, definitely the waiting period stuff, and just taking your time, reading the fine print.
Yeah, and what exactly does it cover, right? Is it accident and illnesses? Is it just accident? Is it preventative stuff? Those types of things, which preventative is not really insurance. It's a savings plan, right? And there's value in that to some people. I've had a wellness plan in the past, so there's no knock on that. But for an insurance company to also offer a wellness plan, it becomes a little bit more challenging when you're also trying to cover insurance and keep a premium at a minimum, right? So there's going to be some shortcuts somewhere, whether it's, we have the right to add a condition. We do yearly renewals, for instance. That's something to look for. I know at one point there's a company that could add an exclusion on a yearly renewal at any time. So that means, let's say a pet has allergies, needs Apoquel, that's $150 a month. And a company could say, you know what, we're losing money on that, so we can add that as an exclusion, or we can cancel your policy. And so, again, that's not common, but I have seen that in the past. So
something to look out
just
for.
knowing the fine print, and also remember, as far as wellness plans as well. Again, a lot of local vets are offering their own wellness plan. But an insurance company is going to have to bring in more than they're paying out to be able to make that sustainable, right? So things like charging for a rabies vaccine every year is part of that plan, when you really don't need it every year. You need it every 3 years, right? And same with the distemper vaccine, that you maybe need every 3 years, but you're paying for it as part of that plan every year. So again, there could be more value to that client if that's, say, hey, okay, I still like to budget, and I'm okay with that. Understood, right? But our wheelhouse is, we want to focus on accidents and illnesses, and so that if anything goes wrong, we're going to be able to pay it with no payout limit. That's the other thing, is payout limits. Look for payout limits, to make sure that we know that things can get costly, and so if there's $1,000 payout limit, how long is that going to last you? So if one thing, it's great if you got a lucky pet. But again, we know that some of these treatments can add up quickly, and that's any vet you go to.
What's the difference between accident only and then illness?
Yeah. But accidents, like, if you get hit by a car, you step on a paw, something unusual like that. Illness is more the long-term allergies, got a chronic heart condition, liver failure, those types of things that there's ongoing treatment. Those are that would be the biggest difference.
Is there a best time to sign up? I know for
Yes.
humans we have like open enrollment, right?
Yeah.
So is there a do you want to wait till your pet's a little bit older when they're a
No.
puppy?
Yeah, no, you definitely want to, the sooner the better. And I think everybody understands pre-existing conditions can happen. And, you know, that's the other thing I would look for also is hereditary and congenital issues. Are those things that will be automatically excluded because of the breed? And so again, as long as there's no signs or symptoms prior to enrollment, those things would be covered. So we always want to say enroll when they're puppies and kittens, so there's no pre-existing issues. And then for us, we don't do birthday pricing, so you're locked in at that age. So you're going to pay a lower premium for the rest of that pet's life because they've enrolled early. And even with other companies, even though they'll raise the prices later, they're still going to be cheaper at that time if they enroll at a young age. So the more we start to hear that, I think the better off this industry is going to be.
Right. And that's for, you know, if you have an emergency or if, you know, for some reason you're having to see the cardiologist because you have your pet has a heart murmur or something, you're still, while it's not like rolling into the ER, you're still able to, you know, calmly say, we can handle this.
Mm-hmm.
This is okay. And that doesn't mean that the doctors are like, oh, they have pet insurance, we're just going to do all this stuff now. You know, like they're doing everything that they need to do to make sure that your pet is good, that you guys are all, the family unit is good, you know?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there because there's, you know, we work with a lot of veterinarians and specialists in emergency clinics, and, you know, the one common theme is that people are in this for the right reasons. They want to help more pets. Right. And this allows you to not, you know, add charges or things like that. No, but to do what's necessary. Like if you think we need this test to, you know, to evaluate that this pet's health, let's do that. And we have the ability to actually do that now. Instead of, again, we're just so used to let's take this off and take this off because the client can't afford it. Or they only have this much room on their credit card, which they're paying 27% on. Right. You know, you don't need to do any of that. Just, you know, let us take care of that part, and you pay your small portion and leave home happy with a healthy pet.
What would you say is the biggest myth or misunderstanding about pet insurance?
Well, again, I think it's overcoming the bad stigma of some of the early policies. And again, it was a learning experience for everybody. I'm not going to bash anybody, but it's, you know, we had to start somewhere. Sure. And it wasn't great. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And, you know, saying that these companies don't want to pay. They don't want to pay, right? And, you know, I know Trupanion specifically at our home office, we have a big bell. We pay a large claim and we ring the bell and we all celebrate. And it's awesome. It's an awesome experience to see it, to work for a company that is genuinely happy to pay a bit, knowing that we've helped the pet in some way. So I think that's one of the biggest things is that, you know, people think we're just out to rip people off, and it's not the case at all.
Some people think, you know, as opposed to pet insurance, I'll just save money instead. We'll just save up an emergency fund. That's what we'll do. How would you respond to that mindset?
Yeah, I think that is an old school mindset, and you know, I could tell you a bunch of stories. I'll stick to one. I was in Cleveland, Ohio, working with a rep a few years back, and had a doctor call us and said, we would like you to come in. We want to start recommending pet insurance. And so we go in and have a conversation, and she's like, I just want to tell you a quick story. My bulldog had a respiratory issue, or I don't know exactly what went on, but she goes, I have a $5,000 savings account. She's an associate vet. I had a $5,000 savings account that I was very proud of, and we had our clinic was closed on the weekend. Took it to an emergency clinic, and there was some complications. Ended up having to do surgery and stay 2 or 3 nights. She's like, the bill was $13,000. She's like, so my $5,000 savings account wasn't even half of it. And she goes, it taught me a very valuable lesson. And now I see the reason why pet insurance is important. And, you know, that's one example. I mean, the other thing is, you know, if I'm setting aside $20 a month, when do you you don't know when something's going to go wrong. You know, if you, you know, let's say you have a puppy. All right, from day one, I'm going to start putting $20 and 3 months in, the dog swallows a ball or swallows something and hits a surgery. Is it going to cover it? The other part is, when do you stop? You know, if you have $5,000 in an account and you never use it, guess what? It's time for new tires. Haven't used this. Let's pull that to pay for the new tires. And then of course something's going to go wrong, without a doubt after that. So that's why I say we're a budgeting tool, right? Pay for this over time, may not happen in the first few years, but down the road, something's going to break down. And this is your way to budget for that instead of just putting it into a savings account and not having any idea if, when, or how much you'll need to pay for that. You can do your research again, like on what preventative stuff costs. But those unknown things, and we always talk about the big surgeries, and yes, of course, it's great for those when you're not expecting the $5,000 surgery. But I always like to go back to the monthly things, the allergies, Adequan, and some of these other drugs that are very effective, but are costly.
Absolutely.
Right? And if think about that. We'll use this Apoquel or Cytopoint, one of those, as an example where if I need to come in once a month, but it's $150 a month, I'm going to try to spread that out. If I'm going to wait till my dog's getting really bad, and I'll let that go 2 months maybe, or 3 months before I actually go back in and get a refill. But if I come in and pay $15 instead of $150, then I'm going to come in once a month because it's cheap, it's easy, and it's convenient, and my dog's not in pain. So I think that's the big reason, and that's one of the areas that we haven't got into yet. But we have the ability to pay a claim right at checkout, so that the client leaves paying their portion of the bill without having to wait for reimbursement and things like that. So in that case, it really does help the client where they only pay their small portion and can leave without worrying about, I put it on a credit card, got to wait 6 days to get it reimbursed, things like that.
Do you have a favorite story of a pet who got life-saving care because their family had insurance?
Well, I think Andrew's was a great story. And there's a lot of those. We multiple pets that we, especially working in this industry, we always say that vet employees always get the lemons, right? You have the biggest hearts, you get the worst cases in hospitals because you love pets and you care for them. And so there's been numerous over my 8 years. I can't even, just so many examples of how, went from I'm not sure if I can do this to I do whatever you need, and my pet's alive today because of that. And I know specifically for me, Mia, my dog, she I would not have been able to do some of the things that I did. I had a 2-year-old and 1-year-old, and Mia jumped up on our table one day and grabbed a bottle of baby Motrin, and the cap was not all the way on. She drank a third of it, and so she was vomiting everywhere. And that feeling as a pet owner, rushed her into, she starts vomiting. We rush her into to our general practice. They had just opened, and she comes back. She's like, all right, I'll be back with an estimate. I was like, don't bother.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do.
It.
And she was like taken back. And so I was like, no, do what you need to do. I'll be here, and so she comes back. We're going to need to watch her. And they did a lot for her, and they recommended taking her to the emergency room. I was like, okay, so at the end of the day, brought her over to the emergency room, and they were like, here's an estimate. Don't bother. I know it's covered, and that's a great feeling as a pet owner to say, don't worry about me. Don't worry about my finance. Worry about her. Focus on her. Get her fixed.
When I came to see vets, not early, I'd say a couple months in, one of our neurologists was doing a brain surgery. And I was in awe that we had a neurologist in general, and was like, yeah, I want to go into the brain surgery. I want to see it. And one of our surgery residents who's with us now, he was like, oh yeah, my dog had a similar surgery. And I was like, seriously? And he was like, yeah, but pet insurance covered all of it. Wow. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Pet insurance covered going into your dog's brain.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it was great. And he got many years with that dog afterwards.
Well, I think that's a great point. Veterinary medicine is only going to continue to advance, right? And it's only going to get more costly to be able to do some of these procedures and hire the experts that are able to do some of these procedures. And, that's how we're able to advance this industry and to get better and better at those things, is if we're, because at some point, if they don't have this, what can a client continue to afford to do? Brain surgery? I mean, I couldn't do that.
I know. I can do it on myself, I don't think.
Right. So it's like, this is, it's not going away.
Right.
That's one thing I would say. It's not going away. So, Do we embrace it or just hope it goes away? That's not going to happen. It's just it's not going anywhere. There's some good options out there. We're striving to always get better and do better from our end. And, so I think that's a good point that we want to continue to advance this industry as a whole.
So that's like the butterfly effect. It does.
Yeah,
It helps everything.
Absolutely.
Right. I think our techs listening are like, yes, yeah, preach. I have some rapid fire.
Okay. Bring them
on. Dog or cat person?
I'm allergic to cats, believe it or not. I picked a heck of an industry to come into. But yeah, quick story. If I
please.
First day working in a clinic, we got really busy and we did grooming too. And they were like, hey, can you go tell the groomer that this cat's ready to go home? So I go to the back. She had just shaved a cat and was blowing off her table. Blows it right in my face. So
you're probably out for a week.
I think I may be the first person to get sent home on the first day of their job. And I had some soul searching to do. Like, is this what I really want to do? But it turns out I fell in love with the industry and not just the pet side, the business side of this. And but yeah, I would say I'm more of a dog person. Not the cat's fault, just because I'm allergic. That doesn't help. But
our rehab doctor, she works in our ER too. She's allergic to dogs and cats, and she does not care. No. She's like, I'm coming to work every day.
I don't care, but also my eyes swell.
I know. Like if I can't see, I can't do much else. Okay, so strangest claim you've ever seen?
Oh, that is putting me on the spot here.
That's a tough one.
I'm
trying to think of like the strangest thing that I've seen come into the.
Yeah.
We had a puppy one time. It was a foreign body. Technically, the puppy had inhaled a popcorn kernel, and they used a scope to pluck it from its lungs.
Yeah. Wow.
What?
That is incredible. There's several foreign body things that may not be appropriate to talk about on the podcast. So, but yeah, several different unique foreign bodies that have been ingested that they've had to get out that we've had a good laugh about at times. So, yeah. But yeah, seen a bunch of those.
I'm sure those claims are fun to look at. I actually saw someone on TikTok. They work for Pet Insurance, and they like to go through the names of the different animals.
Yeah.
I don't really want to share any, but there's some times where doctors will be calling clients to update them on their pets, and I'm like, "You said what?
Yeah.
That was the cat's name."
Well, I think it's like I love when a pet has like a normal human name, like you'll see like a Stacy, and you're like,
yes.
Those are always make me laugh when I see like a Ben or a Frank or something.
We met a cat today named Bob.
Yeah, like Bob the cat. Yeah.
This is Bob.
Yeah. So those always make me laugh.
And one thing you wish every pet parent understood about pet insurance?
That we're in this for the right reasons. That it's not a scam. It's not we're trying to pull one over on anybody. It's a legit business model that is designed to help as many pets as we can. And just a quick note about our founder, Daryl. When he started the company, we started Trupanion because his dog, when he was a teenager, had bloat, and his parents at the time couldn't afford it, and they had to put the dog down. And it became his life's mission. He said, if I get in a position to fix this, I'm going to do everything I can to. And he actually owned another successful business where he decided to sell it and said, this is the time. Went all over the place trying to get investors, went all over Canada. That's where he's from. And was able to start up. I'm like, who wants to start a pet insurance company? If you're going to start a business.
So random, yeah.
But he was so driven to change. And he remembered that's how we started. And that's how we are, continue to be operated. Our new CEO, Margie, is phenomenal and continues to share that vision that Daryl had. And that's I'm a company man, but I truly believe that the people that I work with are all in this for the right reasons to help as many pets as we can get the best care that they can.
For anyone listening right now who has not had pet insurance, has a pet, and now they're curious, which is where we want them to be, what's the first step they need to take in order to start their insurance journey? Do
your research. Don't. Nobody wants to do 5 hours of homework on pet insurance. But I mentioned the trial, that 30-day trial. It gives yourselves 30 days to say, hey, let me go do my research and see what's a good fit for my budget for, let me look at what it looks like long term, those types of things. What breed do I have? Is there any congenital or hereditary issues? Those types of things. But do your research. Ask your local vet. What their opinion is and how it can help, and read the reviews. Read the reviews. Just do your due diligence and get into the best situation that you can. And that's the biggest recommendation I would say.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for traveling to be here. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I know our listeners are really going to appreciate this episode. So
absolutely. Thank you for having me. This has been great. And welcome to come on anytime. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, until next time, give your pets an extra pet from us. And thank you for joining us for Soda City Unleashed.